I ran because I wanted to live, of course. My cousin had a son who was a town council member, and unfortunately he lost his life in the town hall. It's so difficult to see them mourn, and I almost feel sorry that I lived while their son died.
It felt like we were left with nothing and simply just powerless. That's the feelings I had in my chest. Right around 6 p.m, it started to snow. It was too cold to be outside. We had all gone back inside to the classrooms to warm up. Right around that time, we could see fire. It looked like all of Tsunami was drenched in flames. Even from the top of the school, it seemed like we were right in front of it. It was like being in hell. We thought any people who had survived the tsunami would surely be killed by the flames instead. We thought it was the end of Tsunami.
There were over 40 people from our neighborhood that lost their lives. It was also very hard to see women who had lost their children. They knew that their children were gone, but many just couldn't let go of hope that they were hiding somewhere in the mountains or another safe place. They spent their nights staying up waiting for their children to come back. That was really the toughest thing to watch.
Cars had rolled onto their sides and on top of buildings. There was an incredible amount of rubble, and it was difficult to tell what kind of buildings they were from. Mountains of debris that were far taller than me. In places far from the sea, there were fish that had been washed up from fish farms and such. The area was just scattered with things that didn't belong there. That's when I first understood the damage a tsunami could cause. I could hardly believe it. I had never felt such hatred towards the sea. I saw later that there were 3 dead bodies where my house used to be. I knew all 3 of them. One was a firefighter. I thought this was some kind of sign, and that after everything was cleaned up, I should hold a mass for them. There were about 40 emergency evacuation centers that got washed away. These evacuation centers were designated 50 years ago when people assumed a tsunami on the scale of the one from the Chile earthquake would come. The tsunami this time was much larger than anyone expected. People probably thought they were safe there, but instead they died. So when I think about people who have lost their family or loved ones in the evacuation centers, I feel extreme sorrow.
The damage this time was really immense, but we have to stand back up and stand taller than we did before. We should be mentally prepared for that, living where we do. Building houses, building factories. Everyone knows doing this puts us at risk. A disaster is going to come, but when it does come, we have to rebuild. I feel very strongly about that.
We have nothing now. We receive relief supplies, but I don't have a sense of value for the things I really need. I do remember that I used to have this and that, but right now I don't think about specific items I want. I just think about things I need day by day.
Tsunami 来てます! Tsunami 来てます!
Humans are strong. The instinct to live is strong. I think the city will undoubtedly recover. The shopping streets, the jobs people had, everyone is doing their best daily to ensure this happens. No one knows how long it will take, but I have no doubt that it will be an even better town than it was before.
Yeah, それはちょっとね想像つかないんですよっていうのはね
I don't know what's going to happen to our town.
つまり三陸町っていうのは
We don't have a lot of land in Sanriku.
みんなその近く
And people are always moving away to nearby towns.
引っ越しして行ってるんですよ
So, that means young people are leaving our town as well.
子供たちも一緒にもう離れたもんでね復興って言ってもお年寄
Can we really rebuild with only elderly people?
りのでね
It's difficult to imagine.
People are asking, so what happens now? People have some belongings now, things they've received from others, but there are still questions about work or how long we can all live in this temporary housing. When we leave the housing, what kind of lifestyle will we end up living?
やはり家具もないしこれから
I have no home and I'm almost 70 years old.
年代になりまして貯蓄も
I don't have any savings and it's difficult to think about what I'll do from here.
どうしようかなっていうのが毎日
It's something I worry about every day. I think everyone who lost their homes feels the same way.
They say a place like Kesenuma will take at least 10 years to recover.
大多分が気仙沼市内は水産加工の仕事です。
Most of the people of Kesenuma make their living through fishing. Their factories have been washed away, and only a few have been restored. It will take many years for all of them to be rebuilt.
They say that the elderly speak of the past, and youth speak of the future. That's what we have to embrace. Older people are always going on about the way things were, but we have to think about how to build a new Kesenuma. We have to focus on the new. Only a few days ago, I had a dream. It wasn't about the tsunami, but about a flood that reached up into the mountains. I was trying to run away from the water by going up stone stairs and climbing trees. In the dream, it's only me running. I left everyone behind and was only evacuating myself. I think, from now on, I must live having the weight of those lives on my shoulders. I have responsibility for that, and a responsibility to build a new town here.
ボランティアの方々もまだまだマンパワーとして
Volunteers are helping us with the clearing up.
してくれてますけれども、いわゆる
But there's yet to be any kind of support or care for people's mental health.
ないというふうに思いますし。
Amongst the people I know, there are probably a dozen or so experiencing trauma. This is where I was born and raised. When I go up to the mountains, I realize they don't suit me. Kesenuma is where I can see the Pacific. It's between the mountains and the sea. Yes, I'd really like to stay here. The sea is beautiful, but still scary. I don't know how much time I need till I don't feel scared. Seeing the things I saw during the disaster, I can't help it. But I know it's nonsense to hold a grudge against the sea.
Our town was covered with water and completely swallowed by the powerful tsunami. I honestly couldn't comprehend what it was. Was it retribution? Because God was angry at us for being too happy? In my mind, I kept trying to make sense of what happened.
My feelings about the sea haven't changed, and I think it's normally a very kind thing. It helps us, and it has helped us for years. I don't feel like I despise it. From this disaster, I think, perhaps it's us who made a mistake, living in an area vulnerable to tsunami. But at the same time, we need to think of ways to prevent this kind of thing from happening again.
I can never forget about the fear of the tsunami, but I like the sea. That hasn't changed.
Our boat was washed away, but we are going to buy a new one.
So we'll keep our relationship with the sea.
We must keep the relationship. I think there's no other way.